Well, hi everybody. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first KT meeting, so I'm thrilled. I can't wait to get started taking a billion photographs, as I said. But I'll give you a little history about who I am, a little background on how Positive Exposure was started, and who I am as an artist and a photographer. I'm a fashion photographer based in New York City. Might make sure that works. This doesn't work. Oh, it does work. So I'm a fashion photographer based in New York City. My studio is on 20th and Park. But I also lived and worked in Paris and in Milan for several years. Worked with some great models and some great clients. Like here's Claudia, but I worked for Elle and Marie Claire, and I worked for the House of Yves Saint Laurent in Paris as well. This is from Elle magazine. This is Mr. Saint Laurent from YSL, and I did an image from one of our campaigns. This is from French Elle magazine. This is from New York Style magazine, an editorial that we shot. Marie Claire. There's English Marie Claire. Another image from French Elle. And here, of course, is Cindy Crawford from a Berlange shoot. It was really exciting working in this field, working with these amazing models and these incredible clients, but it was also really frustrating because I was told every day who was beautiful. I was told who the model of the moment was, and that would change each season, and I have to change my ideas of beauty because everybody else's idea changed from season to season. But it was really frustrating because, as an artist, I didn't see beauty, never saw beauty, still don't see beauty just on covers of magazines. I see beauty everywhere. I was living in my studio one afternoon after a huge casting for Elle magazine. I was running down Park Avenue, and I saw this young woman waiting for the bus. She had long white hair, she had pale skin. She had this genetic condition called albinism. Albino was the common term that I knew. I never met a model like this. This girl was stunning, yet I never met a model who had this condition. I was so excited when I saw her. I wanted to grab her and say, I have to take your photograph, you're incredible. But the bus came and she got on the bus and took off. And I always say this, I'm so happy that the bus came because she was 12 years old and I wouldn't be in prison right now. But what I did is I ran down to the local Barnes & Noble to get any information, to find photographs of this gorgeous girl or friends of hers that had shared the same condition. I was studying at the School of Visual Arts. I was an art major, filmmaker, and photography major at the School of Visual Arts. So I never saw a medical textbook prior to that moment. But I pulled off the shelf at Barnes & Noble my first medical textbook, and I'm so excited to find photographs of this gorgeous girl. But instead I found images of kids up against walls in doctor's offices. I found the bright red albino eye. This kid had blue eyes, didn't have red eyes. But I saw countless photographs of not just kids with albinism, but with many other genetic conditions, usually in a doctor's office up against a wall with those black bars across their eyes. Very different from this gorgeous kid I saw waiting for the bus. The images were images of sadness. They weren't images of this beauty that I saw. I put those medical textbooks back right away because I was like, ooh, this is horrible. I put those back. And I grabbed an encyclopedia thinking that's where I'm going to find the photographs. But instead I found the freak albino family in the circus. I'm thinking, this is getting worse and worse and worse. And then all the movie references, there's always the evil character with albinism, from the Princess Bride to Powder, who had albinism because his mother was struck by lightning when she was pregnant. To the Matrix Reloaded, there were these ghost-like creatures that would come in, they'd wreak havoc, and then they'd disappear. Even most recently, the Da Vinci Code was evil Silas driving around Paris at night shooting at people. But one of the first things I discovered in my research on albinism was that people with this condition have a certain visual impairment. Most people are considered legally blind. So they certainly wouldn't be driving around Paris at night shooting at anybody and expect to hit any of their targets. All this information was terrible stuff out there. It was all completely contradicting the vision that I saw waiting for the bus. I saw that there was an organization called NOAA, the National Organization for Albinism. It was a family support group for people with this condition, and so I called them instantly and said, hey, I'm a fashion photographer. Let's show the world the beauty of albinism. This is going to be amazing. And they said, get lost. And I pretty persistent. I'm a New Yorker. I don't give up quite so easily. And I said, well, and they made it really clear to me early days about their fear of exploitation. And every time there was a magazine article about someone with this condition, it was always the story about a victim. It was always sensational. It was always negative. It was always exploitative. And I said, I have to agree with you. I've been searching for one positive image or story or anything in the media, and I could only find negative imagery and negative stories. Let's do something strange here. Let's form a non-traditional partnership fashion photographer, a genetic support group. Together we'll partner and create this beautiful photographic essay that celebrates albinism. And they agreed. So I'm so excited when this positive exposure is born that day. I'm ready to start photographing. In walks the first girl I'm going to photograph. Her name is Christine. And she's stunning. She has long white hair, pale skin. She's amazing. But she walks into my studio with her shoulders hunched like this, her head down, no eye contact, one-word answers. This kid had zero self-esteem as a direct result from the teasing, the bullying, and the abuse that she experienced every single day in the class or the school environment. I've never met anybody with zero self-esteem before. Didn't know what to do. How am I going to photograph this gorgeous kid? She's so vulnerable. But then just the day before, I photographed Cindy Crawford on the same set in my studio. I thought, out of respect for this kid, I'm going to photograph her like I would any supermodel. So the fan came on, the music went on, and I grabbed a mirror that was lying next to the set. And I held it up there and I said, Christine, look at yourself. You're magnificent. And all of a sudden, this kid looked in the mirror and she saw what I saw. And she went from this to this. And she exploded with a smile that literally lit up New York City. This beautiful girl finally saw beauty in her reflection. She needed to change the way she saw herself. Her community needed to change the way that they saw her. So she created the philosophy, that very moment on the set in my studio, that drives positive exposure today, which is change how you see how you change. This girl's going to walk into school the next day, not like she normally does, with her head down, shoulders hunched, but she's going to walk in proud of who she is, because she's been enlightened. She saw that vision. She saw beauty in her reflection, and that's never going to change. Those first images were in a Life magazine cover story called Redefining Beauty. Got a lot of it, traveled around the world. The images were everywhere. Got lots of feedback on this, and also won, luckily, and kind of really wonderfully, as I won lots of awards. One of the awards I received was from the Genetic Alliance. It was the Art of Reporting Award. The Genetic Alliance is a coalition of all the genetic support groups. And they just said, we're looking at all these beautiful images of kids with albinism worldwide, but wouldn't it be amazing because we see that there's a universal message here. It's not just about albinism, it's about celebrating all differences. Would you come to one of our other family conferences that we represent and celebrate their kids? I'm like, what a great idea, wonderful. What? She said, well, we have the next conference is the Chromosome 18 Anomaly Registry and Research Society. Would you come and photograph some of those great kids? I'm like, yes. Not knowing what a chromosome 18 anomaly was, I went back to those medical textbooks. And again, I saw really horrifying images. I saw images of kids with cleft palates and kids with trachs and feeding tubes and mobility issues and really sad images. And all those images were represented by someone's in their underwear or naked up against a wall in the doctor's office with those black bars across their eyes. I thought this is going to be really difficult. Albinism was so easy comparatively. But I went, it was in San Antonio, Texas. I went to this conference, went down to the auditorium where young kids and adults were being entertained on stage by a clown. And I walked in with those horrible images that I saw burned in my head. But I walked in and I was instantly surrounded by kids screaming with laughter. There were kids with trachs and cleft palates and feeding tubes and mobility issues, but they were kids and they were having a blast and they were loud and fun. And I was like, wow, where were those giggles when I first started to research what a chromosome 18 anomaly was? These are some of my great friends that I met, Pauline and Rebecca. That's Remy. I'm about to do Remy's high school senior pictures this week. Tomorrow, actually. That's my great friend Ellington. My friend Deke. I came back from that conference and I was instantly approached by the National Institute of Health and the National Human Genome Research Institute to create a photographic exhibition that was going to launch at the Museum of Natural History celebrating the mapping of the people's genome. I was so excited to be part of this. It was going to show albinism around the world and there was the diversity within the albinism community. But I thought, I just had this amazing experience with the Chromosome 18 Registry. Why don't we invite all the genetic support groups, or several of the genetic support groups, to be part of this human genome celebration? And they agreed. And the first group that stepped up was the National Marfan Foundation. Marfan syndrome is a condition you grow very, very tall. You're at risk of an aortic dissection. You have a scoliosis that's associated with this. And these kids were very long, and had very long limbs as well. And I thought, I looked at those photographs again to do the training, to understand how to present Marfan syndrome, or what Marfan syndrome looked like. And there were those traditional images up against the wall, black bar across the eye, scary photographs. But I didn't walk the first person. I thought, there's something missing in those medical type photographs. I understand the importance of them. But the key ingredient that's missing is humanity. So let's give the same information. I'm an artist, I can figure this out. But show the most important piece. Let's show who Billy is. Like, show his beautiful long arms, but show Billy as well. Most importantly, to make sure that humanity is right there in medical education. Some of my other friends I met were Abigail. That's Abigail with Noonan syndrome. My great friend Nathaniel with a cardiovascular syndrome. My friend Leah with neurofibromatosis. They all stepped up to be part of this exhibition. My great friends Maggie and Danielle with Costello syndrome. I went to the Costello Syndrome Foundation conference the first time. It was my first conference, and it was their first conference as well. They never met anyone else besides Maggie or Danielle. It was their first conference. They never met anyone with the same condition until they met each other, and they became instant best friends. And they were inseparable. Everywhere you went, they were together all the time. And every year I go back to the Costello Syndrome conference, and there they are, still best friends. The only thing that's changed the last time that I saw them was now they started a rock band. And really amazing. My friend Jada with 22q11.2 deletion. My friend Winnie living with face syndrome, PHACE. My friend Tyler with congenital melanocytic nevus syndrome. Tyler and I and several of our great friends in the US and also in Europe created an exhibition celebrating nevus syndrome and presenting public awareness programs for nevus syndrome. And it's an exhibition that's launched in Marseille and now it's traveling throughout Europe currently. My friend Simone, I do a lot of work with the Down Syndrome Foundations worldwide. Simone represents the Italian Down Syndrome Foundation. It's pretty awesome. My friend Caleb was born with a very common form of dwarfism called achondroplasia dwarfism. Caleb wants to be the president of the United States or an actor. So I told him all about Ronald Reagan, and he's really excited that now he knows he can do both. And I have a feeling he will do both. My great friend Nadia, she was a second-year medical student in Doha at Weill Cornell in Education City in the Middle East. She has a rare form of dwarfism or skeletal dysplasia called acromesomelic dysplasia. She's actually since finished her medical school and her training as a resident at Dayton Children's Hospital, and now she's a pediatric geneticist at Baylor in Houston, and she's really awesome. We do a lot of these exhibitions worldwide. They travel everywhere. We go, the exhibitions launch in Grand Central Station, in streets of Warsaw, and Union Station, DC, in malls in Russia, just to create opportunities for the public to meet these gorgeous kids. Not seeing the scary photographs, but seeing the beauty and the humanity that we all share in these images. This is an exhibition we've launched. We do a lot of community-based exhibits in children's hospitals. This is in Toledo Children's Hospital. We're currently working on another exhibition at Brigham and Children's Hospital in Boston. An exhibition, a public exhibition at the George Eastman Museum in Rochester, New York. This is a couple of weeks ago, we had an exhibition in Paris at UNESCO. It was our very first billboard on the road from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Very excited to see a billboard. All my buddies up there. We have all these great opportunities to have visibility, but we thought it was really important that we should have an opportunity to give all of our ambassadors a voice. So we created this program, the Pearls Project, which is a web-based blog platform off of our websites, password protected and username only, creating opportunities for all of our ambassadors to talk about their lives from their unique perspective. Not necessarily talking about their condition or their differences, but really talking about music and movies and best friends and television shows. And just to kind of create opportunities for kids in school to meet them through this blog platform, to really see that we have so much more in common than we do have in our differences. I'd like to introduce one of our early ambassadors. This is my great friend Byron, and make sure the lives will hide him.
My name is Byron.
Perfect.
I live in the DC area. I'm 14. When I was 10 months old, I had a left hemispherectomy. I had the left half of my brain removed because I have something called Sturge-Weber syndrome. I wear a brace on my right leg and right arm. I only see out of the right side of each eye. So sometimes it's harder for me to see things on the right side. So playing sports can be frustrating because I might not see a ball coming. I didn't see that coming.
We're creating opportunities for these, all of our ambassadors to be photographed, but also to be part of the enlightening and educating the world about their differences, but using their personalities, their sense of humor, so creating that dialogue. If we're going to be comfortable with difference, we need to be comfortable talking about it. Those conversations need to begin the second a kid starts school. So the moment that same individual retires from the workforce, we need to have ample opportunities, tons of opportunities to have these conversations about difference. I go to medical schools. I go to medical schools around the world, actually, not because I want to pass on this information, but because I can pronounce arthrogryposis multiplex congenita, and I know what it means. Because I met PJ at a family conference, and I know PJ can't use his hands because of the type of arthrogryposis that he has. So his family called his eating technique his Viking dive. He'll go into his plate of mashed potatoes and come up, and then go into his plate of peas and come up, and then chases his sisters around the table with a face full of mashed potatoes and peas. You're never going to forget arthrogryposis multiplex congenita, because you will never forget PJ. Now I go to so many of these family conferences in the summer months, and I bring med students with me, and I bring healthcare providers with me in training, and I shove them in daycare, and I lock the door, and I check back in on them at the end of the day, and they usually have a little poop on their shoulder and gum in their hair, but they're going to be better healthcare providers because they've met these kids not in crisis. They met these kids not in the clinical environment. They met these kids being kids. And it's really creating these opportunities, again, to start these dialogues, these conversations. We created a web-based platform. There are short films called Frame, which is Faces Redefining the Art of Medical Education. There's 6 to 8 minute films that are found on our website that will highlight several different genetic conditions. Each condition will be, all the basic hallmarks will be presented, but not through some scary text or scary photograph, but as presented by someone living with that condition themselves or their family, putting front row and center in medical education, humanity, and family. I'd like to share with you a quick frame. It's just a quick little compilation of what Frame is. Oh, actually, I guess maybe I'm not going to do that. I'm probably not going to do that. I apologize, because I don't think there's time for that. But we have also a documentary out right now called On Beauty. It follows my great friend Sarah, who has Sturge-Weber syndrome, and also my friend Jane Waithera, who started Positive Exposure Kenya. She has albinism. And it really follows their lives, and once they were empowered with this message of celebrating their own difference, it's what they've done with that empowerment. And it's incredible to see how Sarah, who has gone from wearing a helmet when she was motocross racing, to being very proud and out there as a young woman with Sturge-Weber, proud of her birthmark. And Jane actually just won the Nelson Mandela Young African Leadership Award and brought the film to the White House and is actually did a 6-week fellowship at Berkeley. The film will be released later on in 2016, early 2017. So we have a book out currently, which is called Change, How You See How You Change is the name of the book. And we're kind of excited about that. And it leads us to my great friend, Kaylin. Kaylin was born with Sturge-Weber syndrome. She has a birthmark bilaterally across her face. She has it internally, so she has a seizure disorder associated with Sturge-Weber, and glaucoma, so she's blind in her left eye and losing her vision in her right eye. She came to my studio to be photographed. She was so excited. She was bouncing off the walls. We took 1 billion photographs. She had such a blast. At the end of the shoot, her mom called me. She said, Kaylin never discusses school with me. But she knows that if I hear kids are teasing her, I want to come in the next day swinging a baseball bat. And it just makes things worse for Kaylin, so she says nothing. But on her way home from your studio, she said, Mom, kids tell me every single day that I'm ugly. They tell me I'm a freak and I'm a monster, and I believe them until today. And then she mobilized, and she got me to go to her school and present positive exposure to 400 freshman students. And she was on stage with me in her little Madonna-esque headphones, running around screaming, "What is normal?" So she created the most perfect equation or formula that everything that we do with positive exposure has to follow. And that formula is self-acceptance, equals self-esteem, equals self-advocacy. But everything that we do is to create those tools to place in the hands of our ambassadors and their families and their communities to really create a more inclusive society where all differences are celebrated. When Melanie first reached out to me to kind of create, to see if it would pop up for me to come and speak to this group, I was so excited about it. I was thrilled. And then Melanie told me about this young woman that she got to work, that she knew, and she thought we should probably talk, because she's a model. And she's amazing. Her name is Berlange, and she's just here, and you're going to hear from her in a second. But she came to the studio to be photographed. We're so excited. We instantly we just fell in love instantly. So we're forever, sorry. But she's amazing. And the one thing that I found is she's taking this philosophy of self-acceptance equals self-esteem, equals self-advocacy. Berlange changed that. She took that a little bit. She tweaked it to where there's not going to be one ever, as long as she can help it, one extra wasted moment for anyone to feel bad about who they are or for their difference. This is a stunning song. I don't think you've ever seen these, have you? Yeah. She's so beautiful. But she came in and she was just proud of who she is and proud of her difference, but also not seeing the obstacles, and prepared to teach the world using her own experiences, her own beauty, her own energy. She's a ray of sunlight. She's going to use that to make sure that not one other person ever wastes a moment ever feeling bad about who they are or their difference. And she's stunning, and I would like to introduce you to her right now and have her come up and say a few words. Berlange?
Thank you, Rick, and the team of organizers for bringing me here. Thank you, Melanie. I love you so much. Thank you. It's so great to be here. I am so thrilled to be here. While some of you are here for medical purposes or somehow to be inspired, I am just here to hug everybody that has KT and whoever's here to support them. I never thought this day would come where I would meet one person that had KTS, let alone a room full of us. I am excited. Yesterday when I came here, I came fairly late, and I walked in a room. I thought the setting would be just like this, but it was over at the other hotel, and it was a different setting. So I was like, who has KT here? Can I see them? And I'm like, no one here looks like they have KT. And then other people were looking at me like, who is she? Is she just a presenter? Is she just supporting? But I do have KT, and now I am so proud to tell everyone that I am KT strong. How are you guys feeling? For those of you who have KT, how many of you know that you're beautiful?
Yay!
Okay, awesome. Well, how many of you think you're beautiful? Awesome. Okay, I'm not going to ask who doesn't think they are. Well, you all are beautiful. I am at that point where I know I am proud of who I am. KT doesn't define me. My name is Berlange Presilus. I'm from Haiti. I am a fashion model. My life story, well, it's been a roller coaster of pain and emotions, experiencing the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. I've been hurt, I've cried, I've been in pain, I've been wounded. From Haiti, I didn't know what I had. It was, to my parents and to me, it was just a discoloration in some veins. Maybe because I was skinny, so my veins were popping everywhere. So then when I moved to America, that's when I started to realize something was wrong with me. People would point at me and laugh, the whole nine. And so I began to feel down, like I don't belong. I'm not important. My dreams are not valid. So I started to hide who I was. My parents and my friends would tell me that I am beautiful, but I never saw what they saw. When I look in the mirror, I always wondered, what are they talking about? So I went on with life thinking, God, why me? Why couldn't it be just one of my brothers? They wear pants anyway. I want to wear dresses. I want to wear shorts. They're safe. But then I never got an answer, and it was just me that had it. What I did know is that KT is just not the color or the vein. It comes with a whole lot of complications. So I started having very much chronic pains. I couldn't sleep at night. I would wake up in the middle of the night with a cramp. My parents would have to hold me down because at times I would just feel like bouncing off the walls or get out. The pain was too much to bear. So we started to look for doctors. I've gone to one doctor, the next doctors. Every doctors I saw were like, we don't know what that is. I can't help you. So it was just a whole going around, asking questions, answering their questions, and no one ever knew. So I found one doctor that I thought would be able to help me at the end, and he said, I can't help you. You have to just cut that leg off. I said, what? No way. So I got away from that doctor, never mind. So the search continued. I started to look for more doctors. Finally, I found a doctor, which he didn't know what I had, but he was a vascular surgeon, so he was able to help me with my veins. I had a big lump on my right leg, I'll show you after. And he was able to do surgeries. After that, he left me right there and said, that's all I could do. So now, before I had the surgery, when I met that doctor, I thought, hooray, my legs are going to be perfect. Both of my legs are going to look the same. For me, it was more the color and how people would look at me and how they would react. For the pain, it was painful. It would be really bad, but I dealt with it. So I went back on the search for another doctor that could help me to live on because I thought, oh my gosh, how will I live? I have no purpose. What am I going to do with this ugly leg? Everyone looks at me and find that there's nothing attractive about me. So I believed it. So then I found another doctor that I started seeing, and things were going great. I started to feel good again about myself. And at the end, I sat down with him and he said, you know what, I thought I would be able to help you. But at this stage, you're having so many complications, heart failures. I can help you. You're not going to make it past 19. And that's all I can tell you. My world came crashing. I was 16 years old then. You can only imagine a doctor. The person that I looked to for help told me I would die at 19. So I believed it. Now what? I'm 16, I already feel bad about myself. Now a doctor told me I would die. So why not just take my life away? I wanted to just finish it, be done with it, and over. I didn't want to deal with this anymore. So one day, that was it for me. I wanted to just commit suicide. So then as I was getting prepared to do that, my mother walked in on me. And so she started speaking to me. And for some reason, for the first time ever, I actually listened to her words. I mean, people tell me all the time I'm beautiful. I was just like, yeah. It's just a big pity party. Sorry. So anyhow, she spoke to me that time and reminded me that I am beautiful and I matter. I even mattered to her more. So that time, I listened to her and she prayed with me. I went to sleep. Parents, I'm speaking to every parent in this room. It's imperative to tell your children you love them. No matter how they feel, even if they listen, even if they're listening to you, they pay attention, tell them, hug them, tell them you're beautiful. Because at one point, when they feel like they can't take it any longer, your words, that still small voice, they will hear it over, and that may help them. So I didn't go on. I didn't do it. So I lived. After many years, I didn't have to cut my leg. I didn't die at 19 years old. So I started thinking, maybe I have powers. Maybe I can go on. I didn't die, I'm still alive. So I decided to be my own help. And I meant my own help by accepting who I am. Believe in my powers. You see, all of you in this room, you have a purpose. You have a destiny. But first, in order to live out loud, be unapologetic of who you are, you have to accept you because the world will tell you, you're not beautiful, you don't matter, your dreams are not valid, you cannot dream. And that will get to you, but if you know that you are, you believe in yourself, that won't hurt you a bit. Before I continue, yesterday, a lot of kids were looking at me like, you don't look like you have Katie. You don't have Katie, but I do. So I'm going to show you how I have Katie. Now, the way I'm dressed, everyone thinks I'm beautiful. Thank you. Thanks. But then I'm going to show you where I am acquainted with Katie. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, by the way, a designer made this for me because I told him what I wanted to do. I'm going to drop this. I'm still clothed under. Usually I wear 2 stockings because this doesn't match my skin color, and it's obvious. Who wants to walk around with this? Not me anyways. So I learned to put another stockings on top of it just to hide it and give it a little punch, a little sexiness as they call it. So I'm going to grab this chair here. Bear with me.
You can take stockings off?
Yes, I'm going to take the stockings off. I am going to show you where it is, how it is. And in my case, my leg, this right leg is way skinnier than the left leg. It's a little bit ashy, but my stockings are so. Here you go. It's a workout to take off this and to put them on. When I first got the stockings, I ripped 3 of them from trying. I don't usually have those, but I love these. Yes, so here you go. I'm a little silly. There you go. Can you guys see it? Can you guys see me? From bottom and all the way up. It changes color. Sometimes it's dark red, sometimes it's just dark, or sometimes it's just red. But I'm okay with that. I learned to accept who I am and believe in my powers. You see, before I would hide. And being in the fashion industry, they don't, like Rick was saying, they don't want to show this. They want to make you believe the girl that you see and picture, this is what she looks like. Of course, this is me, but there's a whole lot of work that went into this girl. This is the full me, and this is what I want you to know. So let me go back here. I got some notes here. Now, because I accepted all of me, no ifs and buts, last year I decided, okay, this summer, I want to take off my stockings. I want to go out. I want people to ask me questions. Are you burnt? What is this? And I would be glad to tell them what this is, what Kate is all about. So I wanted to start to advocate for Katie. I want to raise awareness. Last year, I went to Fashion Week, a show, just to watch the show with my friends. I told her, guess what? Next year, which would be this year, I'm going to walk Fashion Week without wearing my stockings. She was like, oh, really? You think so? And in my head, I'm like, yes, I am speaking over myself. It's going to happen. So we went on. Now, when you accept yourself, it doesn't mean you're not going to get rejection. You will. But guess what? You will be at peace with yourself. And those rejections, you'll just take it lightly because you'll just think, okay, maybe it's not my time yet, or this didn't meant for me. That's where I'm at. So I ended up walking Fashion Week. If you go through the pictures, and I got commercials, that's a commercial I did. I didn't wear my stocking. Now, when I don't have my compression stockings on, I get really weak after a little while, but I try to go without it, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time. I'm taking it easy at a time, although I just want to walk around. Before, it was a matter of the color, the look of it. It was not so much of how it would make me feel. But now, I'm all about letting it out and let everyone see. This is what beauty looks like. It's not about perfection. No one is perfect, in fact. If your syndrome had made you feel like you can't dream, your dreams are not valid, you're not important. The love for yourself is the quietest and the simplest revolution ever. No one here can go on with their lives, living out their dreams if they don't believe. If you don't believe in your dreams, your goals, and your powers, you have to get out there, hug yourself, and break the stigma of beauty. You have to first believe in yourself. At the end of the day, it only comes down to one person, and that is you. No matter what anyone thinks of you, it doesn't matter. It's their opinion. It's all about you. So whenever your syndrome wants to keep you down, or the scars on your body makes you feel like you're not valid, I need you to take a mirror. If you have to, tell yourself, you are beautiful, you are capable, you are aware, and that's okay. You are unique, you are powerful, you are capable. Most importantly, you are enough. Thank you.